Hello and welcome everyone, or welcome back everyone rather.
That's right.
Welcome back to Hearthstone Masters Korea Season 2 here at OGN. We already had our opening match with Socio taking a 3-0 win to secure a spot in the quarterfinals and try to continue his streak of taking tournaments here in Korea.
Yeah, our defending champion looking like a champion in that first match, really kind of dealing with Kuma with ease. And I think Kuma had a couple misplays throughout it. I think his deck choices were a little bit off, but we'll see if he can come back in later seasons. Either way, our reigning champ is through, which is very cool. And that brings us to our second best of 5, which is going to be Miracle versus Qualifier. And it's an interesting couple players. Qualifier, of course, I don't know why he named himself Qualifier. It's very odd. But Miracle was actually one of the few successful professional Magic the Gathering players in Korea. Let's learn a little bit more about him right now.
Yeah, there is Miracle. I believe he's also the oldest player to enter in this season. He's super happy that he has a chance now to play on the big stage. And you know, although I'm generally older than most professional gamers, obviously this game doesn't require micro, so you know, in hopes that I can still just take part in that. And I've played a lot of other CCGs and played in a lot of global tournaments, so I feel pretty confident about my skills in Hearthstone, and I'm gonna do my best to kind of prove myself here on this stage. Now this guy, I mean, like you said, he's played a lot of Magic the Gathering. He played some WoW too, it looks like, at a competitive level.
So he's been a competitive guy for a while. Also, he has been in Legends since closed beta, in fact, since they introduced the Legend system. So he has been at the, you know, near the top of the ladder here in Korea for a long time. But you know, it sounds like Hearthstone just simply isn't his job. You know, he has a regular career and all that.
Yes.
And decided to try to qualify, a very talented player, and here he is.
Yeah, so he's a chef at a pho restaurant, in fact, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he cooks as his main living right now, but he used to be very interested in gaming.
That gives him extra points in my books, man. I love
For
pho.
sure. Maybe if he wins, we'll all get to go to his restaurant and get some pho. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. And he does say also he's been helping a lot of other players actually prepare for global tournaments and online tournaments, but now he's trying to take his own chance here at Season 2 at OGN for Hearthstone, and his opponent will be none other than Qualifier. Qualifier is one of the 4 players this season in the round of 16 to not be part of a team.
Yeah, kind of a brand new face here on the Hearthstone scene. See if you can make any waves.
Says, well, you know, I do think I still have a lot to learn, so it's an honor to you know, come into the round of 16. And personally, I really enjoy watching Socio. So I want to do well this season and then be able to join his team and be scouted into his team. So that'd be pretty cool. And he likes aggressive decks, like Zoolock. That Face Hunter, if you couldn't guess from an aggressive player. Mech Mage, something like that. But these days he's been trying to shift towards control. And I do think, you know, both of us, we came into the round of 16 because we deserved to, because we had the skills. So I think we'll have a really good match. It'll be fun to see who gets to move on to the quarterfinals. And, you know, and also OnGameNet has such a history here in esports, and a lot of people have been coming to watch Hearthstone at OGN. So I'm going to do my best to show you guys some really respectable Hearthstone, and we'll see how the match turns out between these two guys, Miracle and Qualifier.
That should be cool. I wonder what the fan vote's going to be between these two players, because it seems like Miracle comes with a lot of credibility in terms of success in CCGs and just competitive gaming in general, and I would imagine the fan vote is going to go that way. But Qualifier, you know, he seems to be kind of making a name for himself.
Funny thing here, his quarterfinals in the Qualifier was against Red T, who's one of the casters on the Korean stage for us here at OGN. He's been entering the qualifiers every time just to, you know, try his hand at playing, and also get to, you know, meet and talk to the players while he's at it. So he did lose 3-1 to Qualifier himself. And Qualifier also took out one of Miracle's teammates in the, I believe, last stage of his offline qualifying stage against Lozome. So he got the 3-1 win or 3-0 win there. And so Miracle has a little bit of revenge. Miracle on Team Sunbeam. We had some of their members in Season 1 too. But let's check out what classes they brought.
Yeah, let's see. It's going to be Shaman, Paladin, and Hunter. So none of the 3 decks that Miracle played in the qualifiers will be played by him in this match right now. And Yeah, Shaman. Interesting choice. I wonder what type it is. I mean, we've seen, obviously, a lot of kind of classic mid-range, but there's a hot new Mech Shaman out there. Savitz did very well with that at the special event. Meanwhile, Rogue Druid and Warlock for Qualifier.
Yeah, the same classes for him, but we'll see if he changes things up a little bit, especially with Warlock obviously having the most possibility and different styles out of those 3 classes.
Yep.
Druid and Rogue will probably be pretty similar, but Miracle, yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what he brings, because Warrior, Druid, and Warlock are such consistent classes, and he switches out from those.
Okay. This is about what I expected, I suppose. 70% of the fans out there going towards Miracle again. You know, I mean, he comes very vetted as far as his experience goes in this arena, and even though it's not Hearthstone, certainly all those years of Magic the Gathering apply. I mean, I played for 20 years before I started playing Hearthstone, and a lot of the fundamentals certainly follow through.
I don't know, man. The man named Hearthstone took the first season last year against.
We don't talk about that, Joker. This year's the real beginning, Joker.
All right. We forget 2014, 2015 Korean Hearthstone. We are in our second match of season 2. Both players are ready. So set number 1. Here we go.
Good. Starting out with the Shaman. Awesome. Shaman versus Warlock will be our first match. And it's going to be Mech Shaman. Nice.
All right.
I love it. And handlock. Okay, so Mech Shaman certainly has the capability to burst down handlock. Okay, he's running Rag. Interesting. But handlock, of course, if it can sustain early on, can just be unbeatable late. So we'll see how this one goes.
I mean, he's going to really need the taunts to come out for him. And Shaman versus Warlock history. Nice. Not too many games in 2015, mostly because we haven't seen too many Shamans in 2015, especially in Korea.
Just passing the turnover, not wanting to use that coin. Probably going to go Mech Warper into coin Anoyatron next turn. Meanwhile, not a lot to do other than life tap on the Qualifier side.
It's a Shadow Flame. I mean, he has a Molten Giant, though, so that's pretty good news. He can use it for an emergency Shadow Flame, or if he gets a taunt, really shut Miracle's early damage down a little bit.
Yeah, both these guys have pretty solid starts, but I think my big question is about Miracle. Is he going to be able to get enough done?
Oh, Defender of Art is coming through for Qualifier.
Yeah.
Now, do you... Whoa, that's a good drawing of the mascot of Lazen Comics.
Not bad.
And he's playing Hearthstone.
He's got to be careful he doesn't drop his cards in his tea. That would be, that'd be really too bad.
Don't you usually have, like, covers, though?
For tea?
No, for the cards.
Yeah, but they're open on one end.
Oh, that's true.
So if you drop it in liquid, it doesn't really help you.
You should just laminate
That's for
one.
more if it's on the table and you're spilling on it. No, if you laminate it, then you can't ever get the card out.
Well, that's their permanent form now. All right, that Anoyatron can get pretty big here with the Power Mace, and Miracle has a second Power Mace, so he's not going to be too concerned about trying to save that for a special occasion.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough start here for Qualifier. Nothing to play on turn 4. Ooh, second Shadow Flame. Oh, okay, so interesting. He's running 2 Shadow Flame. Generally, lately, we've been seeing 2 Hellfire, 1 Shadow Flame.
Yeah, but double Shadow Flame and Rag, a little bit older style, one could say. But, you know, it does make sense for it to come back a little bit, especially with all... well, I guess Hellfires do just fine against Patron Warriors and whatnot, too, but then you take damage, too, and if you've already been bursted down once. So, I mean, this has always been an interesting tech choice, and it really depends on kind of what's popular in the meta, because Hellfire, obviously, you take damage, and Shadow Flame, you need a minion on board.
Yeah,
it's a trade-off.
I'm not the biggest fan of this style of handlock right now. We'll see if it works out for him, but I definitely prefer to kind of forego Ragnaros for a little bit more mid-game pressure. And fans of Go Rush.
Yeah, fan of Go Rush, cheering on his corny style of humor. He has a corny sense of humor here in Korea.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
That's what he's known for.
It's fine. Power Mace getting some powerful damage done here, and you know the thing is, things like Hellfire, Shadow Flame are not looking as appealing right now.
No, not really. I mean, that Anoyatron getting buffed up with the Power Mace. There's Go Rush.
Hi.
Oh, he's
Wow, waving to his constituents.
nice.
President Gorush there, wow. Well, I mean, so we've got a Molten Giant down to 6 mana right now for casting, but I think you may have to just Antique Healbot and then use that for a Shadow Flame next turn, depending on what the board looks like. You can always Mortal Coil that Annoyatron to sort of free it up. It's a tough situation, though. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, not having anything to use in combination with this Shadow Flame hurts a little bit. No early Twilight Drakes, really.
Yeah, that Divine Shield is really messing him up, too, because he's not going to get anything draw-wise out of this Mortal Coil.
And the Antique Healbot doesn't feel good because you have that Molten Giant at only 6 mana now. Whoa, okay.
Oh, no! Wow, you've got to be kidding me. Well, that's pretty disastrous for Qualifier. Second Power Mace in the hand now for Miracle.
And wow, Miracle not concerned about bringing the health down because he has 2 Earth Shocks. Has no regard for taunts.
Yeah, I mean, Earth Shock
healing totem
does take out taunts, but I think we're going to see I think we're going to have to see a Shadow Flame on this Molten Giant.
Yeah, I think you have to.
Because Antique Healbot is not enough.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he could go Antique. No, because he can't cast both. That's the problem. The only way you can play a minion and use that Shadow Flame is with Molten Giant.
Yeah, if he uses Molten Giant and Antique Healbot, I believe he's 1 off lethal. Because that Micro Machine goes up to 4. Oh, but oh man, he's just going to go for taunt. Now he is going to Dark Bomb that, but that is lethal then. Because you have the Earth Shock and then you still have the Power Mace.
Yep, from Qualifier's side of things, I think that was a fine play. But a couple Earth Shocks, wow, a lot of damage, Rock Biter weapon, whatever you need, and Miracle is going to take a quick game, and this has got to be a big relief. Mech Shaman is certainly a risky deck to bring, but it can be explosive, and getting a win with that right off the bat is a great start for Miracle.
Yeah, kind of curse with the par for something like Mech Shaman here. Now for Qualifier, you had a rough start, and that can happen with Handlock, but at the same time, the great thing about Handlock is that it can come back and win against some other decks.
Definitely.
So shouldn't feel too bad. I do think that last play a little bit not taking into account the possibilities of lethal here for Miracle. I think just working too much with what's on board.
Yeah, I mean, you can't play around that kind of stuff too much. And to be fair, Handlock has always been a traditionally weak matchup against nearly every Shaman deck.
Well, right, but
so
I mean, there were methods where even if he had that, he could have tried to survive. So I think that Qualifier maybe taking a little bit more time next time could help. But again, like he said, I mean, he's pretty new to the scene in terms of competitive play, and he's trying to prove himself so that he can have a chance to at least try out for some of these other teams.
Yep.
So we'll see if he can prove himself as we go through the rest of the round of 16 match here between these 2 players. Set number 2 is ready between Miracle and Qualifier. We'll see which decks they bring in the second game of this best of 5.
Hunter versus Rogue this time. Okay. A lot of Rogue today.
Yeah, Rogue's still coming back here for Masters. So. Not as popular anymore, especially on the ladder.
Looks like a bit of a hybrid Hunter for Miracle coming in here, probably.
Whoa.
Although double Wolf Rider. Okay, so sometimes you see the double Wolf Rider, sometimes you see Wolf Rider, Arcane Golem as well. 1-1, but double Wolf Rider it is for Miracle. So
I like to imagine that how you build a hybrid hunter is you have 30 cards of base hunter, and then you roll your dice, and then you take out 2 cards depending on what you get from the dice, and then you put in Savannah Highmanes for those 2 cards.
That's about right. I mean, you gotta do a little bit more though. You gotta add Lotheb in there, you know, change out the traps a bit, but for more, you're mostly right, more or less.
Now, that's a really tempting backstab target.
Sure is.
I would just do it.
I'd be pretty surprised if you didn't.
Yeah, I would just do it in dagger.
If you don't backstab the knife juggler on your second turn, you're probably going to die. So you're going to take like 6 damage from Glaive Zuka.
All right. Well, not an easy Glazuka target there, so Miracle just choosing the hero power and start the damage that way.
Yeah, much better. Probably just see him attack and remake his weapon here.
Yeah, makes sense, and he's going to attack on one of the Deadly Poisons too, since he does have 2, and it's nice to have that all prepped up, especially with the Blade Flurry coming in actually on this turn's draw.
Yeah, definitely. And Animal Companion is going to be the play from Miracle here.
Huffer, hello.
Huffer. Nice. And unless that Blade Flurry is used, Huffer is going to be an 8 damage Huffer.
Yeah, well, this fan giving a shout out to Miracle. Can you just make it a 3-0, because I might not be able to catch the last train home.
I think a lot of people are going to be missing the last train home with these Hearthstone broadcasts. We don't start until 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Well, there's Valera.
There is Valera. Who is she trying to stab, though?
She is trying to stab a Draenei Paladin, perhaps Marud.
Okay, I was going to ask if they had a name or if it's just like a Draenei.
I'm not totally sure though.
All right. Well, I guess sometimes it's hard to tell.
I want to say it's Marud, but I'm not 100% sure.
What? How would you know based on armor? Like if one were to find out? Because
what are you saying, Chobra? All Draenei look the same?
What?
Jeez, wow.
I mean,
I can't believe you said that. I'm so disappointed in you. I thought you were bigger than that.
All right, well.
That is an 8 damage Huffer, by the way. That hurts really
Job
bad.
well done.
Yeah, that'll do, pig. That'll do.
It surely will.
Yep.
And Hero Power instead of Glaive Zuka wants to make sure that he can guarantee that extra 1 damage comes through if he puts it on a minion. So I think that's fair play from Miracle.
A little bit of an awkward turn here.
Yeah.
Let's see, and it's probably Freezing Trap.
I think. Do you just Deadly Poison SI7 here?
No, I don't think so. I think that would be
too much.
Yeah, a little bit of a waste there.
But then do you just? Because I don't think you want to get hit by that. Like I don't think you want to clear that with face.
Honestly, I think what you can do is just attack into it with the your dagger. Play SI7 agent as a vanilla 2/2 or 3/3 rather, and remake your dagger. I think that's totally fine right now because, you know, you can make the. He can probably plan on it being Freezing Trap, so he's gonna get that SI7 agent back.
Right. I personally, I was more concerned about the damage you're taking from that. I mean, it's just 2, but you're already down to 16.
It is a bit of a risk, but you know what else do you do at this point? Nothing else is really too much of a favorable play.
Yeah, no matter what you did, you had to make a sacrifice one way or another.
It's just that gross, disgusting feeling you get when you play against a hunter in Hearthstone.
And while purposely leaving that out to get another charge on his Eagle Arm Bow, it's so telegraphed, but what can Qualifier do about it?
Yeah.
And the Knife Juggler. Miracle actually just kind of taunting Qualifier at this point with the minions he's putting down.
Pretty much. Let's see. So what he can do is Deadly Poison and attack in to test the trap. Just confirm that it is Freezing Trap. And he may have to Blade Flurry here.
I think you have to.
Yeah.
You can't.
Although Lotheb, you could attack in and well, you wouldn't be able to trade though unless you Deadly Poison. You can't take 3 damage
okay,
now.
Here's what you do. Maybe you just try attacking face with your SI7 agent, or actually just try attacking the Knife Juggler, and it's probably gonna trigger that Freezing Trap. And then you can just Deadly Poison and put that back down.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's a great idea actually. And now attacking with a weapon first.
Whoa, okay.
Oh, wow.
All right, well, he also really just wants something bigger on the board, I guess. Still choosing not to test the trap, though.
Oh, that's going to be, I believe.
That's game.
I believe that is lethal.
Yep.
Yep, that is it with the hero power. Wolf Rider, extra damage from the Abusive Sergeant, and the Eagle Horn Bow is going to do it. And it looks like Miracle's going to go up 2-0. Are we going to have 2 3-0s today?
Whoa, that would be one of the quicker nights of Hearthstone we've had.
It would be the quickest night of Hearthstone we've had in 2015.
Be pretty crazy. Full house tonight, as you can see, as Miracle takes that 2-0 lead against Qualifier.
Well, that Hybrid Hunter is pretty good because it's basically Face Hunter with Savannah High Mains.
Yeah, and the not the Miracle Shaman, but the Mech Shaman really doing work for him too in set number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Miracle, I mean, sure, the decks he chose, I mean, that also says a lot about him too. He changed all 3 of his class choices from the qualifiers coming into the round of 16, but then he chose decks where the deck itself does a lot of the work for you, trying to take advantage of the fact that he only has to play 1 opponent today, whereas during the qualifiers he had to use the same deck for several different opponents.
Right. So
playing perhaps a little bit more of a control style. But we're going to take a quick break, everyone. So we'll be back with what possibly could be the last game of Hearthstone for tonight in Season 2 of Hearthstone Masters Korea. Welcome back, everyone, to Season 2 of Hearthstone Masters Korea here at OGN. And we are on the verge of possibly having the earliest night of Hearthstone we can in 2015.
Maybe. I mean, Miracle right now is up 2-0. Certainly looks like the veteran player that he is as far as his experience in card game goes. He's looking very calm, looking very methodical and collected. On the other end, Qualifier looking a little bit nervous, playing a little bit quick, and a little bit too greedy. I mean, you had the last game where he had the opportunity to use that Blade Flurry to clear the Huffer. Instead, he took 8. I think he just needs to play a little bit safer.
All right, well, set number 3, let's get right into it and see what decks they chose. All right, the Rogue coming back for Qualifier, and Miracle, of course, down to his last deck in this best-of-5 Conquest format, and whoa.
King Mukla, oh my gosh, is this aggro Paladin?
Wow, bringing in just 3. Okay.
I love it.
All right, Miracle.
This is so, like, veteran CCG. I'm just going to cheese this guy.
Yes, that's pretty much what he's saying.
It really is. Argent Squire on first turn. Wow. A blast from the past. I didn't think I'd see King Mukla in anybody's decks in a while.
Yeah.
I have like nightmares of aggro Paladin. Yeah, it's Quartermaster Muster for Battle. He's got the double Divine Favor. Yeah. Wow, double Hammer of Justice. Hammer of Wrath, too.
Wow.
Man.
Quadruple Wrath, Doa.
No kidding, all the Wrath.
Oh, this is probably not going to go so well for Qualifier because he doesn't have any
this is really good against Rogue.
Clear.
It's great against Rogue because you've just got so many things to go through. King Mukla.
All right, so what do you do here? I mean, you don't have a sap.
Well, you've got a couple options.
Golden banana. Wow, I actually think that's the first time I'm seeing a golden banana.
I don't think I've ever seen a golden banana either. That's a good point.
Yeah, I didn't know the bananas like flew through the screen there.
He can clear a bit. He can actually attack into the shielded mini bot. He can play South Sea Deckhand, backstab the mini bot, and then eviscerate Deckhand King Muklan. So he'd only have the 1/1 to deal with afterwards.
Okay, that's actually not too bad. That's not too bad considering he has a Violet Teacher and the bananas there.
He could also.
Wait, does he,
no, that actually won't work.
Does he have? Yeah, he does have the mana for that.
Yeah, I think.
All right, Qualifier, figure it out. There's a lot of cards in your hand.
I think that's. I mean, I think that's what I would go with.
You're right. That is the #1 answer. Because if you leave this Mukla out, you thought 8 damage pigs were bad. What about 10 damage gorillas?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants to get hit with a 10 damage gorilla.
Uh-oh. I don't think he sees it.
It's only a 0 damage gorilla right now.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, okay, you still accomplish the same thing if he figures it out.
Yeah.
Before he hits with his dagger, though.
He does. Okay, he's going to do that.
I think he might get greedy with the South Sea Deckhand. I have this bad feeling.
Yeah, I think he's too.
Yep. All right, well, he's going to clear the Squire then. So,
yep.
not the worst thing. Like, it's very clear that he probably wanted to save his Deckhand here.
To be fair, he's probably going to need a lot of bursts this game.
Yes.
And so the South Sea Deckhand saving that isn't the worst thing ever. But
yeah, I mean,
I just don't think you have time.
Yeah, well, now you definitely know. What do you do here?
Well, and the thing is, if he had killed the shielded minibot last turn, he'd be able to have a much better Fan of Knives this turn. And he could Fan of Knives, coin, dagger to finish off the Knife Juggler. So now, well, he can do this into Fan of Knives.
Yeah, but you only kill 1 minion, you know?
Yeah.
It does feel kind of bad. Now, you can point out a banana here and really try to get control of the board next turn.
I think you have to coin the deckhand. You have to get something done. Oh, but he doesn't have charge.
Yeah, he doesn't have charge, yeah.
Well,
so I think you just put a banana and get another minion down.
I guess so, yeah.
And you just hope to goodness that it's not a Consecrate. Well, okay, so you put it on the Violet Teacher to make sure that it survives no matter what and has more damage. If a Consecrate comes out here.
Wouldn't say no matter what.
Okay, all right.
Oh, that's a Blessing of Might.
Yeah. Well,
let's see. So 3 damage, 15. Let's see.
Qualifier is actually slowing things down a little bit here. And Hammer of Wrath just to face, just to get it. All right, there's some Quicksilver, though. That's a lot of damage still coming in.
Yes, it is. That is a ton of damage to face. Look at this. And he's got him not quite dead next turn, but close. All right, Fan of Knives again.
Ooh, okay.
There's a lot. The thing is there's so much that Miracle can draw into.
Yes.
That can end the game.
So I actually, okay, so if you're Qualifier, would you fan of Knives here just to get more draw, or would you put Lotheb and then just clear with all your apprentices?
I think Lotheb is a safer play.
Right.
But Qualifier has played quite greedy so far tonight, so we may see him do the Fan of Knives. Honestly, the Fan of Knives isn't bad either, because
then you can dagger up,
then
right?
you can do more damage as well, too. You can just trade one into the Shield of Minimon. Yeah.
All right.
So I actually like the Fan of Knives a little bit better.
Okay. 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 All right. Well,
I think that's fine.
I mean, he
depends on if he lives. I mean, it's all up to Miracle drawing 2 more damage from hand, and with his deck, that is not hard at all. And it is not quite over yet.
Not there.
Yep.
All right, one more turn. Qualifier.
The thing is, can Qualifier do 23 damage next turn? Because he has to. He doesn't have any taunts in that deck, I'm pretty sure.
He has 9, 11, 13 so far with just a banana and the deckhand. 13.
Sprint.
Oh!
That is it.
Wow.
That is it, man. There's no way to get rid of the weapon. There's no way to do enough damage. Doesn't help, and it's going to be 2 3-0s tonight. I can't believe it. Wow, and Miracle winning it with hyper aggro Paladin in the end. I love this guy. This is my new favorite player in Korea right now. Miracle's got my vote.
Well, really, really well done. I mean, switching out all 3 classes for a preference in aggro and really taking advantage of the fact that you only have to win 1 best-of-5 play against 1 opponent.
Yeah.
All aggros do have a tendency to be able to win on any given day. And you know, the deck does half of the work for you there, and that's kind of the payoff. Where on the flip side, it's also much more predictable kind of what you're going to do and what you're going to draw into.
Well, he just kind of brought 3 decks that can win against anything, you know?
Yes.
And they don't, sometimes they wildly fail, right? Like any hyper aggro deck does. But they can generally take games off of pretty much anything. So he's like, all right, I'm just going to play these decks. They're not that hard to play. It doesn't really matter what my opponent brings. And so I think it's just a very good sort of general plan going into this by Miracle. Very cool.
I love that he saved Paladin for last, too, because it's like the most probable to be control or mid-range. And then he just shows up in the last game with that aggro Paladin. Well, congratulations to Miracle, who secures a spot there in the quarterfinals. And we'll have a little chat with him. And ended all his games within around 6 turns there.
That happens.
And he said, oh, so yeah, so he's actually taking, he took advantage of what his teammate Lozom gave him in terms of information from the last part of the qualifiers where he played, his teammate played against the player qualifier. And his teammate told him, well, these are the decks he played. These are all the cards he played. So here you go, use it as you may wish, and Miracle kind of suspected that he might try to bring pretty similar decks or maybe only 1 variation, and so he brought all 3 aggro, just take advantage of the slower decks. Well, very well done. And talking to Miracle about how is it to try to balance your lifestyle now that, you know, you do have a full-time job, working at a restaurant as a chef, and, you know, and then you've been helping other players prepare for tournaments. But what was kind of your reason for entering as a player yourself instead of just helping other players? And he said, well, you know, I just wanted to prove that I can do it too. I just wanted to prove that I am really a good enough player. And for Hearthstone, I do think it's a really fun game. I think it's a game that anyone can approach for sure. And in that sense, I think it's a little bit lighter because it's very welcoming to anyone who first tries it. You know, you can kind of figure it out as you go. But let's look at some highlights here and talk to Miracle himself. And he said, well, his teammate really suggested, I think King Luca can, you know, the aggro paladin can really come in and do work for you if he brings out Rogue. So why not bring it back? And there it is. And he said, well, I didn't think I was going to win no matter what. I was going to wait until the last minute. But they put down the Azure Drake, and the only way he could have survived was if he had a heal, an anti-heal bot, and he didn't. So that was game. That's when I felt relieved that I'd won the whole best of 5. And in his preparation with these decks, he said, yeah, well, it was a little risky. If he brought 3 different classes, things could have gone very differently because I wouldn't know what to expect, and he could have had better answers for all this aggression. But if he brought the same 3 decks, I knew for a fact that I had such an advantage in preparation. And yeah, again, his teammate who played against Qualifier during the offline stages gave him this advice, and he said, I think if you bring these styles, these 3 classes, you'll have a great advantage because, if he brings the same classes, that's kind of just a given that you'll win eventually in the best of 5. And if not, you can then try to play out a little bit more of a skill matchup there.
Very true.
And he didn't really catch on to the last question. And talking about meta compared to the West here in Korea. Miracle saying, I do think that it's a bit of a shame that Korea is a little bit slower to adapt to the meta compared to other regions. I think a lot of it is because Korean players tend to be a little bit more stubborn about what classes they enjoy and what style they like to see in their own games. And so they stick a little bit longer to the former metas or a little bit kind of older styles of decks than we might see in North America and Europe. And I think that's right on.
I think that's totally true as well. Just from what I've heard from players I know, I think that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a flaw in the scene here.
It has been changing a little bit, but I think Miracle is still accurate on that. And he said, well, it feels great to enter the quarterfinals here at OGN at such a such a big stage. And he was just reminded that his next opponent will be Socio, Group A and Group B of the round of 16, just going right up the bracket, as you might imagine. And so I guess he hadn't really thought about that. He was like, oh, you're right. Yeah, I guess, so I think the next game will be much harder because he is the defending champion. But at the same time, I think, I'll just have to put in a lot more time to prepare, and hopefully we have a close match in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So that's it for all the games today, Doa. But of course, we can't forget our favorite part of OGN Hearthstone. It's going to be the card pack openings with the McGurgler and the winners of the day, Celcio and Miracle, coming down. Of course, unfortunately, the card pack openings won't affect any giveaways that we might have in the future for our global fans, but for all the fans here in the studio, which everyone's still standing around and waiting because we still have time for that last train home, so everyone's trying to vie for a chance to get extra card packs or something like that.
Nice. There we go. It's time. The McGurgler is back.
Yeah.
Welcome to Hellfire.
Oh, wow.
Not that those two are related. Just going to open some packs. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, so for those of you guys who are first tuning in for the first time, I mean, this does determine how many extra giveaways we have for the fans here in the studio and fans who watch here in Korea from home. And then later for the events such as like the finals or maybe even the semifinals, we have had giveaways for global fans in the past too. So please continue watching our broadcast live. Thank you for your support as always.
Solskjaer looks more nervous about this than his match.
Yeah, I mean, hey, now that he's the defending champion, it's like if he doesn't open good packs, everyone's just going to be mad at him. They're like, what does it matter if he wins? We don't get extra cards. We might see that happen today.
Now, traditionally, the McGurgler hasn't had the best packs as well. So
yeah,
this is kind of a season of redemption for her as well. I'm surprised she requalified for Season 2.
Well, there was talk.
Opening.
Yeah, there was talk backstage at the end of last season where we thought about opening the whole season up with a show match between her and her younger sister, the McGurgler's apprentice, as we call her, and seeing if whoever wins that best of 5 between them in a game of Hearthstone will get to stay as the host of this segment.
Seems reasonable.
But unfortunately, we didn't have that game happen. The McGurgler claimed that she was automatically better at the game than her younger sister.
Right.
So I guess we'll just have to take her word for it.
Being older, I would agree. You know?
Well, you know,
the older sibling is always right.
So I've been on a show with Go Russia and the Marine where they were both there for kind of some show matchup with fans for Hearthstone. And her younger sister, I would say, was a little bit better, but just,
oh, really?
Just gonna put that on the record.
All right. All right, you've seen them play, and this is your official opinion.
Yes. Well, the McGurler
Cobra
tried
shot.
to silence Gul'dan with the Iron Beacon. This was a long time ago. She's learned a lot since then, but that was when she first started learning Hearthstone, and she was like, "Oh, I can silence. Why don't I just silence him?" And we were all like, "Oh, I don't think that's how it works."
Like, no, you fool.
And her packs, as usual, pretty lackluster. Nothing really cool coming out of this.
Blackrock Mountain, Hearthstone Adventure.
It truly was an adventure. And Socio,
Tree of Life.
Getting a nice epic there. Oh, whoa! That's a pretty solid pack, yeah.
Piloted Sky Golem.
Yeah, who says there's no micro in Hearthstone? Look at this card pack opening. Wow, so 3 epics. Another Cobra Shot. Cobra Shot, a pretty popular card in GVG packs, I've heard.
Yep. When I opened like a couple hundred GVG packs when it first came out, and I tracked it, and I got more Cobra Shots than anything. Legendary Oats Godzilla.
Yeah, the crowd going wild because some of them will be getting many more extra card packs as giveaways today.
Nice. Not bad. What a pro.
2 rares, not going to really do too much there. No more epics or something like that, but a legendary for Miracle and 3 epics for Socio. Pretty good day to be a Hearthstone fan here in Korea.
Yeah, not too bad.
60 extra packs per person for 3 lucky people here in the studio and 3 lucky people watching from home. That's pretty awesome. I mean, the Hearthstone community has been growing a ton here in Korea ever since the release of the mobile platforms.
Well, the studio is just packed every single show now, too.
Yeah. We have a lot of people.
Cool to see.
Some of them playing during the downtime, waiting for the matches. But let's review the results. Like you said, Doa, shocking 3-0 for both matches today.
Yeah, about as quick as it gets, really. 3-0 for Socio over Kuma from Golden Coin. The rivalry continuously going towards Solcio's side in that one.
Yeah, the Coup All Killers now. The former Godzio members going over to the Coup sponsorship. First professional Hearthstone team in Korea. That's pretty exciting. And Socio having a nice opening day for them under that new banner. And then in our second round of 16 match in Group B, we had Miracle taking a very quick 3-0 against Qualifier with 3 aggressive decks.
Yeah, I think I feel like we can pretty definitively say that the better 2 players went through.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this briefly too, Doa, when we were on break, but Qualifier and Kuma playing a little bit like maybe they would play on ladder, playing a little bit too greedy about their own style. But tomorrow's going to be pretty different, I think. We have 4 big names coming in.
Yeah, Dawn versus Ghost, and then Surrender versus Transit. That's going to be pretty interesting. And I mentioned it before, but for me, the biggest question is Transit. You know, he's such a good player. He really is honestly a talented player, but he just seems to kind of suffer from a lot of nerves when he plays in the booth here. So has he finally conquered those in like his 3rd or 4th season of qualifying and then being eliminated very quickly?
Well, maybe he should come in with like a Yeti suit so he can't see anyone from the booth. You just play in a Yeti suit. I mean, you don't need micro, so those gloves can, maybe. But we'll see tomorrow. Obviously, Surrender, a lot of hype behind him. He didn't qualify because Dawn, I believe, last season took him out, right?
That's
the qualifiers,
right. He did.
So Surrender, we didn't get to see him here in the studio, but people still claim he's still probably one of the best players here in Korea. Dawn went through to the quarterfinals, but then had a rough showing, I believe, against Socio that time, so not being able to make it through there. But that's it for today. We have 2 more best of 5s tomorrow, same time, same place, guys. Thanks for watching Hearthstone here at OGN.